Hi everyone, hope everyone is doing good. So today in this video we are going to take a look at a parking lot. But before we go there, right, I want to share one of the uh, delivery framework, if you may, or a pattern or a flow chart that I use whenever I am in any of the LLD rounds, right? And before I kind of pass my knowledge, right? So I just want to kind of let everyone know that I'm telling this from my prior experience and from my friends' experiences. So if anyone is more than one EOE generally, right? So if people are, so let me use this thing. If someone is like more than one EOE in software engineering, right? So this might come in your rounds. So it might be called as machine coding, low level, or some also called as specialization round, right? So, and this is an important round. Generally, this is second or third round, right? Definitely asked in SD2 role. So now to answer this, right, when I was preparing, there wasn't any good resources. There were some channels which are kind of teaching it vaguely, but to answer this question within 50 minutes, right, it is tough. So that's the time frame, right, that you are given, right, in uh, 50 minutes that you have to answer. So how to answer it, that is tricky, right? So I'll be creating a separate video to go over this design. The purpose of this one is not to kind of uh, tell more about this, but just to give context. I have given more than 20 LLD rounds, and I have cleared like 90% of them. And then some of to name few companies where me and my friends have given rounds are Nutanix, Flipkart, Goldman, and then some startups and also some famous startups like Observe AI, BitGo. These are some to name a few, right? And Walmart and some more companies. So me and my friend, we have given LLD rounds of these and we are able to clear most of them. So just to give a little bit background of from where the knowledge is coming from. So this is all practical knowledge, all practically tested knowledge, right? So that's that because I don't want to kind of teach something that is going to be relevant or not even share something, right? So so how to excel, right? So this is the delivery framework that I personally follow. And the first thing that is whenever you are given a LLE problem, you have to gather the requirements, gather and clarify the requirements, right? Once you have done that, then we have to identify the entities, properties, and method. Once you have done this, right, this generally takes like this will take probably 5 minutes, and let's say the next also takes 5 minutes, right? Or let's say 5 to 7. So you have kind of spent your 10 to 12 minutes, and then you are left with approximately 30 to 40 minutes, right? In some companies, it is a 1.5 hours, but generally it is around 1 hour. So let's say you are left with 45 minutes, right? Then either you can do a class diagram or you can do a implementation, or it would be like 80% class diagram and then implementation, right? And then the design patterns later. So I'll walk through in depth, right? I'll create a separate video, but this is something that is going to come up, right? Now the target of this video is going to be we are going to take a look at designing parking lots. So we'll follow the same framework. So if someone is interested in designing a snake and ladder, so there is a video of this also on the same YouTube channel, right? And now we'll go to design a parking lot, right? Now you can see that I have already written the first step. So if let's say someone wants to kind of see how I'm writing this, so there are like live YouTube videos also. So I do live stream every day, right? Where I kind of work through this. Basically, it's a study session. Everyone is more than welcome to join so that the community of software engineers kind of become closer to each other. That's the aim of that, and also to build consistency, right? So without wasting any time, so let's say in an interview we are given this problem saying that design the parking lot, right? So first thing that you should come to your mind is that okay, we want to design a parking lot, and then what is a parking lot? So everyone might have seen that you go to, if you work in MNC, you see that you go to a mall or in a company, there is ground floor, first floor, right? You find a spot and then you park your car. Basically, it's kind of simple, right? This is a easy level problem. So easy level problem, I would say. And yeah, so first thing you should think from a user perspective, right? So okay, let's gather the requirements. So first thing that we can think of is parking lot should have multiple levels, right? Where user can park the car or it could be vehicle, park the vehicle, right? So that is clear. And then each level, what each level will have? Each level has parking spots, right? And then each parking spot, it is kind of different for different vehicle. You might have seen two-wheeler, car parking, bike parking, right? So that is again a distinguish. Then these are like the things that comes from uh, first that we think of that okay parking lot, and then you have a levels, and then you have parking spots, and also there should be some functionality that system should provide, right? So system should be able to assign and unassign a parking spot. Here system is nothing but just the application or a code that we are going to write. Then there could be like you should give a availability, but main things are these only. Like you should be able to assign and also get the availability, right? Now it should be thread safe, as in you should be able to let's say there is one parking spot. It should not be like that two cars they both parked at that, right? Which is not possible. So let's say we got two concurrent requests. Now that should be handled in a thread safe manner. Like there should be no overlap. It should not be like that we parked both the cars, right? That should not happen. So once you have done this, right? So our aim should be to kind of identify the entities from this. So let me see if this color thing is not working. So what I want to basically do is I'll change the color back to this, but let me use this laser pointer. So this parking lot, this becomes first entity. This levels becomes another entity. Then this parking spot becomes another entity. And then this vehicle becomes another identity. Like this comes generally from practice. You take a look at all the design problems, it will eventually come, right? When I was starting this like 8 months back, I had no idea. I was completely lost. That's the reason that I'm sharing these videos in a very systematic manner, right? Now, once we have done this, right, let's say these are our entities, right? So what we are going to do is we are going to write this. So this is our parking lot, and then this parking lot has a list of levels, right? Because you can think of that each parking lot that we go to, it has the ground floor, first floor, right? It has levels. And then you can park the and unpark the vehicle, right? Now this is the basic stuff. And then this comes the single pattern, right? Singleton pattern. So in there are a lot of design patterns involved. These are like design patterns are like the good practices or the norms of how to kind of write a code of your system, right? So here, so let's say there is a parking lot in city Bangalore, right? Or in a mall. So in a mall, there could be multiple parking lots, but if we talk about one parking lot, right? For that, there should be only one instance. It should not be like that, okay, I am about to park a vehicle and this vehicle created its own parking lot, right? That should not be possible. So that's the reason that we want to restrict it to only one instance of parking lot. So this, it's not like that you can create so many objects of it, right? Only one objects will be there and it will be accessible to do via class. You don't need to create the objects. So that is our parking lot, and then comes your parking level, right? So each parking level, it will have a ID basically, whether it is a floor or whether it is a which level it is, right? Level ID. You can name it. Just follow proper naming convention like level ID or floor, right? Don't call it like just ID also you can call, but don't give a very vague naming convention, right? Follow proper naming convention. So here it like the proper way if we want to let's say type like level ID would be the proper thing like this. So, and then you have parking spots, and then you each parking slot will have a individual parking slot, right? This is like the definition of it, and then you will have a parked vehicle on top of it, and also it will also have a parking number, right? Let's say spot number. And then you have vehicle class. Now you can see that the vehicle that are going to be parked, right? That can be of different types, bike, car, or all these different things we could be there, right? So that's where another concept we can bring in abstract pattern. That is also important here. So now moving to the next one is vehicle type, right? So now there is another concept of enum also. So here in this vehicle type, each vehicle will is going to have a property, right? It will have a vehicle type, whether it is a car. So we are going to use enum such that there can be only specific value, right? There can be only car type. It's not like that you can put car as CR, right? You have to proper have a proper specific value. This will help us avoid errors in any production system, right? Then you need to have concurrency, and this is our demo class, right? Now here you need to spend some time, 5 to 7 minutes, to write all of these down, right? Or maybe sometime more if it is a big system like Book My Show that has a lot of things within it. Now, once you have done these two things, like gather requirements and identify properties, right? Now comes the question to your interviewer basically. That shall you straight away jump to the code? So this all part, right? You can also write straight away in the code. You can just create sample classes and you don't have to waste your time here. This is not required. You can directly go to the code. So directly go to the code if working code is expected in the end. So you can directly go to your code part, right? So that's an important point. Let's highlight this. Now, if they're going to just discuss, then this is good enough, right? Now comes the part where you might not have to define this. Like you can just put the names parking lot, parking level, right? So there could be two versions of it. So you can just put uh, parking lot, parking level, parking spot, vehicle, right? And vehicle type, and then demo service, right? This could be another variation of it. That okay, you just highlighted those, and then you ask the interviewer that okay, do you want a class diagram? Shall we draw a class diagram, or shall we do the implementation of it? So in some of the companies, it depends on interviewer to interviewer also. Like companies like Uber might ask you class diagram. So to one of my friend, he was asked to draw this diagram on whiteboard, right? It was an in-person interview. So he was asked to draw this diagram, right? So that's the thing, right? So they can just ask you this also, or they could say that, okay, we want code, right? So it's always good to clarify that with your interviewer. Now, let's say in this example, we want to take a look at the code also. But in this example, let's say they asked us to do the class diagram, right? Now, in the class diagram, so how we will start, right? So there are different ways to start the class diagram, right? You could start from here. So first thing that you would always try to start from a primitive entity, right? That you know. Or you could go come from top down also. You can start from parking lot also. That is also okay. It is up to you. We'll take a look at both the ways, right? So let's say we know that okay, vehicle is there and it is going to be abstract class because I need to have this get type and license numbers. Get functions can be there. You can have create it as an interface also. Minor differences, but so we are going to say that okay, this is our abstract class. Now, then this straight away comes, right? Is our relationship. So bike is going to extend the vehicle, right? And then it will become a is a relationship. Car is also going to do the same. Truck is also going to do the same, right? And this is called generalization relationship, is a. truck is a vehicle, car is a vehicle, bike is a vehicle. So this quickly you will take 2 minutes and you will write this down, right? So that you have got the ball started, right? So you have started kind of drawing things and you have also kind of highlighting that, okay, you know things, right? So that is the first part of it. Now, the next part of it is this. That you try create this parking spot. Now parking spot, you know that it will have a parking number, minor things, but the most important thing is it will have a reference to parked vehicle, right? So this parking spot will has a, right? There is a has a relationship where we say that, okay, parking spot has a car or a vehicle, has a vehicle parked, right? Now here, why is it aggregation or a weak relationship, right? So these are all object-oriented relationships. If there are any doubts, we can cover that also, but you can just Google it. So these are some of the relationship. I know that when I started preparing, I had never cared about it, but these are some has a relationships, right? So this is important. If you highlight this, it kind of tells that you have strong conceptual knowledge, right? It's also understood that, okay, parking spot has a aggregation, has a vehicle, right? Now, why it is weak? Because this vehicle can exist independently, right? It is not like that this vehicle will only exist if there is a parking spot, right? This can be independent identity also, right? So that's the weak hazard. Now coming to the next thing, that is our level, right? Now in our level, what we can see is we have a floor ID. This is basically floor ID and you can call it int. Then you have parking spots. So many parking spots. Let's say we go to first floor and we have like 10 parking spots, right? Now here there is a strong hazard. Why? Is there going to be a parking spot without any level in it? Even let's say there is ground floor parking only, then also it is a ground floor level, right? Basically, it is basically it is like a house room problem, right? So if you have a house, then only you will have a room, right? If let's say you just have a room, then also you can call that a house, right? Okay, that is like one room house, right? So that's the thing here. So level has parking spots and it has a strong has a relationship. So and then you have parking lot. So parking lot is like has multiple levels. Again, is it a weak? No, it is a strong because if let's say there is one level parking only, then also that whole thing you are going to call a parking lot only, right? Let's even think of there is like open parking, right? There are grounds, so you might have seen in some of the cities like it's like open ground and you park your vehicles there, right? That also is a parking lot and it has level which is zero, right? So in marriage palaces and all that, there is outside parking, right? That also has level. Like it only has one level, that's a ground level, but there is a strong hazard, right? So this is what is going to be one angle of an interview, right? This is how it could go, but you have to be prepared for both, right? Now it can't be both in one. Like I have rarely seen it. It could be like then majorly diagram and then some small simulate. Let's say they want to you to draw this or probably this parking spot and vehicle, right? Because this don't have dependency on these two things. But I have rarely seen that it is combination of both. That I have not seen from my experience, but I'm not saying I'm not like 200% sure, but I think this should prepare you, right? Now, so this is the first part of it. I think the video is going to get longer and longer, which I don't want it to be. So this is going to be the first part. I'll create a second part for parking lot and where we are going to discuss the implementation details of it. So thanks everyone. I hope this is helpful. If it is helpful, feel free to share it with your friends, like, subscribe, just the normal things. Thanks.